Hey, what is going on everyone? Ryan here and welcome back to NYG Pro Game Reviews. Today we're going to have something very special and something that was very interesting that happened very recently, which is the 2021 Nongshim Cup. The Nongshim Cup is a team tournament between three countries, Japan, Korea, and China. The three countries battle it out as teams, where it's a knockout and stay style tournament. If the player wins, the player plays the next country and stays, while the loser of the round gets knocked out forever, and the country with the final player wins the round. Now, the pace of the tournament is slightly slower than a knockout tournament between two countries. However, can pick up very quickly if one player can stay on the match and win multiple rounds, and so on. Classically, this has been a very prestigious tournament, and all three countries treat it very seriously, as it is a symbol of their status in the international Go scene. Players also treat it very seriously, as they are playing for the team of their country. There are 5 players on each team, and in the beginning, the two countries that came second and third in the previous year play against each other. What's interesting about this particular tournament is that in the beginning, no one had any consecutive wins. So even when Iyama Yuta first came on, in the previous game, he won against Fan Tingyu 9P, so he got to stay, and now, as you can see on the left here, his opponent is Byun Sangil 9P. It is worth noting that Japan has historically not done very well in the Nongshim Cup. For over 10 years, Japan has not gotten into the first or second place. So let's see if Iyama Yuta could break the tie break among the three countries at the moment and finally shift the Nongshim Cup and put Japan in a better position. In this game, Byun Sangil is black, Iyama Yuta is white. This game is played with 60-minute main time and a 60-second one-time byoyomi. Let's get right into it. So, in the beginning, Byun Sangil started with a start point and 3-4 point opening. Iyama Yuta opened with a rotating 3-4. After black approached, white just played a diagonal. This is more of a slow and steady approach. Black keeps approaching the next 3-4 point. Black is playing very fast. White takes a sente, joseki in the upper left, and then approaches the bottom right. So in this case, black wants to pincer right now because black has stones on either side. So by pincering, black could start a fight and try to develop on both of those sides. White did not do that. White pincered on the bottom. So of course, black would continue here to punish white, and white extended first to sacrifice an extra stone, and this makes black's framework a little bit less ideal. So after that, black kicked and jumped. This is all pretty standard, nothing too special here. White, of course, doesn't have to immediately save the 2 stones. It would be quite difficult to do that efficiently, because then white would have to do something under. A quick tip for those of you who want to learn this shape is you can actually play this move kind of under the shoulder hit, and when white if black blocks, white can actually hane and connect, and this way when you sacrifice it, it makes it so that black is smaller, and then white can develop a group on the right side. But in this game, white decided that the left side is more important. So instead of this, going back to the game, white played a pincer. This is also a very common shape. After that, the invasion becomes possible. So after black completely captured white, white invaded, and then black peeped and attached. After white did a shoulder head exchange on the right, I'm not sure why that particular sequence, but white haned. So locally there is a move in which white can connect back into the corner. But white probably didn't do this because white wants to actually develop a center moyo instead. So white chose to sacrifice the stone by haning on the outside, extending and extending back. This sacrifices the stone at c13, but the intention is to build a wall in the center here, in which white can develop this moyo. After white extended up, black could exploit the shape on the left by attaching directly. This is a very important move to learn, because if we just play the direct move, like the extend and hane, this would not be as good. And this is because when white double hanes, black still has to connect due to the weakness. And now we can see that the c10 for d10 exchange is very bad. So the attachment that black played in the game is actually a very good move, because now when black pulls back, of course, white still has to connect, but black would never exchange c10 for d10. Okay. Now the next move is very surprising for me, in which I just completely didn't expect. So if you take a look at the game right now, where would you play? So I believe there are two good options for black. One is to just jump over here, or maybe even knight's move for better shape to reduce white's moyo. I believe the next option would be to directly try and escape the stone. Either attach on top of this, maybe even do an invasion, but some move related to the block stone at e3. Okay, so if you choose one of those, then you would be just as good as an AI. Now, black actually haunted in this game, and this move was very surprising to me because the group on the right seemed to be relatively solid already. But more importantly, white is developing a very big moyo, and black is not reducing it. We can see later how this move really made the game a lot more difficult for black. So white played this move, and this move is a very common move to fully capture the black stone at e3. After that, black continued to defend the corner in the upper right. And that's because when white defends at f4, the moyo expansion is worth less. That's because white already spent a move. This is an important concept. If white jumped up directly and black just let white get all of this, then white won't have to play e4 anymore. So by protecting something more solid, you're actually indirectly making that particular area a bit smaller. I hope that makes sense. So black defended the corner, white kept expanding. This is very consistent with what white is building, starting from this left exchange. So black tiger's mouth, and then black descended. This move also seemed a little soft. Now personally, I would have played the cut actually, because this seems to nicely reduce white's moyo, and white can't easily sacrifice it. So we really want to, make white weak so that black can gain stones to reduce white's middle here. So black didn't do that because I think black is confident that it's not too hard to reduce. So black descended and turned. These two moves are extremely big territory. So white had to jump here. If you're wondering why white didn't block, there's quite a bit of forcing moves here, including the clamp, which could affect the center fight. So white simply jumped for the stronger shape. Okay, black needed to reduce the middle. White turned and shoulder hit. These are all very common moves. After black extends under, white kept attaching, and these are all in attempt to gain more and more forcing moves. There's a particular reason why black taunted here, because if black extends here, there could be a clamp at r16, which is pretty difficult to answer. But the bad thing about this is that after extending, black didn't connect, so then white was able to cut off the stone, like so. This stone is not a big deal because black kept most of the territory. Now black should continue with the center stone. However, what's interesting about this game is that I felt Byun Sangil kind of underestimated Iyama Yuta a little bit. Now, what do I mean by that? At this moment, you would of course think to protect the stone in the center, right? It's still a very, very close game. White has a lot of thickness, black has a lot more solid territory, and there's still quite a bit of unsettled business in the center. But at this moment, Byun Sangil played a Hane in the top left. Now, of course, this could be a time Suji. But this really was not a good exchange anyway. But it's really not unrelated to what's mainly going on in this game. So white got the first move, and whenever you get the first move in somewhere important, it can definitely make a difference. That is why Sente is so important in Go. If we don't keep Sente, we're going to give the initiative to our opponent, and the game is going to be much harder to play. So black was forced to play a lot of these exchanges, which all ran into white's group and didn't make any points. Now, it looks like it's difficult for white to kill it, but remember, white's goal of attacking is not to kill. It's just to make black into inefficient shape and try to profit in the process here. So white came back to block after gaining those moves in the center. Now, all of these were pretty good exchanges because they forced black into a very solid group, but it's still not completely alive yet. At this moment, Iyama Yuta is scheming something very big. And I was very impressed by this strategy, and I'm sure you'll be as well if you haven't seen this game yet. So why don't we pause for a moment and think about what is white thinking about? Okay, so let's continue. So black extended and played the knight's move. Black is unaware of what white is trying to do. White attached. Black just took the territory on the right side. Because this kind of attachment is actually difficult to respond. If black Hanes, white would actually crosscut, because then white would be making more territory in the center area. So black just decided, okay, I'm just going to take my territory. But little did he know, after a few more exchanges, boom, the left side actually has a life and death problem. Literally, a life and death problem. A problem in its life and death. So if you saw this move, I think you're at least a top amateur player. This was what Iyama Yuta was thinking about all along. Right before attacking this, he knew that if he had some forcing moves in the center, b17 is actually going to be Sente for white. Now, why is there a life and death issue here? When black connects, white plays tiger's mouth, and then this connection move is critical. Because both players have 4 liberties, white has 1, 2, 3, 4, black has 1, 2, 3, 4, each move that black plays needs to be reducing white's liberties. But if you notice the shape here, this is a pyramid 4, which is not an alive shape. So after reducing 2 liberties, white Hanes, and black is dead. Although Byun Sangil should have seen this coming, but it's still really impressive that Iyama Yuta was able to have such a huge plan like this and able to execute it all the way to the end and use that to win this game. After this, black struggled for a little bit, but all of these moves are not going to be game-changing because there's just no way black is going to make that second eye in a place where there's all white stones. After white turns at g16, black resigned. But wait, how did all of this happen? There are a few important moments of this game. The first, if we go back, was the Hane that black made. Because this move was not really on point. There were many more important moves than this, and it was simply not urgent enough. The next move was black's Hane, which did not care about the center stone at all. This allowed white to consecutively attack the middle stone before having to answer. And of course, finally, black not realizing the fact that the left side was in danger, and white very nicely played a few moves to make the middle a bit stronger before playing the killing sequence. A very nice overall win by white, and it almost looked like black didn't really have any big chances. After winning this game, Iyama Yuta really had the stage. Not only did he win this game, he won 4 games in total and completely dominated Stage 2 of the Nongshim Cup. So after winning against Byun Sangil, he won against Li Qincheng and also Shi Minjun. So now Japan has an unprecedented lead in the Nongshim Cup now with 3 players left. China has 2 left, while Korea is down to their last man. The next season of the Nongshim Cup will happen in around the end of February, so definitely stay tuned for that, and we will see how far Iyama Yuta can take this for Japan. That's all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this new format. If you did enjoy, drop a like, check out our other videos and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.